Hello, good morning. I am Valeria Cavioni from the University of Milano Bicocca in Italy, and today I am here on behalf of my team to tell you something more about the experimentation in general and what happened in Italy. Because as you might know, Malta was, of course, involved in the project, but with a different rule. So we as Italian team, we were the coordinator, so we are in charge to tell you something more and to provide you some example of what happened in Italy about the experimentation of promise. I will show you in a moment my presentation because I have also some nice picture that I would like to show you. Okay, so Promise, it's a European project. You might have known from the previous presentation of the coordinator. We spent a lot of time, almost 1 year, to develop the framework, which is based on the most recent research in the field of mental health promotion in schools. And our framework included three main themes. Two are more related with the promotion of the positive mental health skills. In particular, we are talking about social and emotional learning and resilience. And one is related to the prevention of the social, emotional, and behavioral difficulties. We design this theoretical framework to take care of these three themes, both taking into account the need of the student but also the teacher. This is one of the innovative aspects of Promise. I will tell you a little bit more about the innovative aspect of Promise, but one of the most important aspects is that we addressed also the mental health need of the teachers. In this model, we can see that we have these three teams within some developmental context which are related to the school. I'm talking about, of course, the life of the student, the life of the teacher, but also we tried to reach the family and the school leader. Promise is an European project, and among all the other aim, one of the most important scope was to add a sort of impact with the policymaker. For this reason, we included the policymaker from the national level, I would say also the regional level, national level, European level, up to the most complete, I would say, worldwide level. In this way, we tried to include also some policymakers, such as the Ministry of Education and the Regional School Office. Okay, saying something a little bit more focused about the teams, as I said, we included three teams. One is the promotion of social and emotional learning. I can call it SCL because it's quite a known, recognized construct in research. SCL include a number of abilities, for instance, the ability to recognize our and others' emotion, manage the feelings, setting and achieving goals, showing empathy for the other, establishing and keeping positive relationship with the other, and taking responsible decision making. Resilience is more related to the ability to adapt in a successful way to challenging situation, and then related to the preventing part, we try to address all the social, emotional, and behavioral problems, both directly toward oneself, such as depression and anxiety, and also to the other, such as violence and aggressive behavior. So as you can see, our idea was to build quite a comprehensive curriculum. We established a number of principles which are according to the most recent principle in the effective program, school-based program. So Promise is a universal school-based curriculum which means that it's for every student. It's not targeted for only those who have particular needs, but it's for every student. Then it's evidence-based because, as I said, the theoretical framework was based on the most recent research in the field. It included a whole school approach because our idea was to, of course, impact directly in the school context because we work directly with the teacher, but then the teacher worked with the student they brought some activities from Promise at home. So in this way, we enlarge our activity to the home context. And then also, as I said before, we worked in terms of community and policymaker. The activities that we prepared, I'm going to show them in a moment, they were developed according to the SAFE approach, which is an acronym that means that the activities has to be built in order to be sequenced, divided in step-by-step activities, active, they have to promote active learning. The F is for focused because they are more effective if they are focused on single abilities, and explicit. They have to explicit target a competence, a specific competence. Our activities were designed to be embedded into the school curriculum, which means that we are not expecting that the teacher would dedicate 1 hour for Promise, because we know that teacher most of the problem is that they have no time because they have, of course, to follow the subject and the curriculum. So our suggestion was to take our activities and try to embed the activities into the subject, and this is what they have done. We asked them to be systematic in terms of implementation. In fact, we asked the teacher to try to implement 1 activity per week. So it was once per week, as I said. And then we wanted to promote a developmental perspective. In fact, the activities that we developed were shaped for children age 3 up to 18. You can see is a very large range of age. So the Promise curriculum was mainly composed by 3 parts. One part was to train teacher and supervise the teacher. This training course was composed in total, including the supervision, of 25 hours. In some countries, it was possible to do it face to face. In some countries, because of the COVID emergency, in Italy, for instance, we couldn't, so we did everything online. And of course, the training course was recognized by the Ministry of Education in every trial country. Then we had a number of meetings with parents and the head teachers, mainly online. This was organized in order to support also the parents and the head teacher to know more about Promise and to know what it means to promote mental health in terms of whole school approach, including also the home environment and the school environment in terms of school community. And then we provide the teacher a number of handbooks and glossaries, both for students and for teachers, and guidelines for teachers to promote their own mental health, for parents to promote mental health at home, and also for policymakers. These materials were provided in 7 languages because we were 6 countries plus the language of 6 countries plus English. So I was part of the training team in Italy. We train a number of teachers. We train actually a large number of teachers because we had more or less 500 of teachers included in the experimental plus the control group. We address these 6 topics. So first, we talk with them about what it means to talk about student and teachers' mental health from the theoretical and practical point of view. we talk with them about the effect of COVID on mental health. Also, we address the topic of stress, burnout, and resilience from the teacher's point of view, because we know that teaching is one of the most job that is at risk in terms of burnout. Then we provide them some instruction, practical instruction on how to implement the curriculum at home. We give them sometimes to share their experiences also in terms of difficulties related both to the experiences they were having during that period, because it was we implemented promise during the COVID emergencies, and also they share with us the experiences in terms of the activity that they try to implement in the meantime, where we were training them. And last part was dedicated to the policy and the program already existing at national level. So as I said, in terms of context, so this is more a little bit more focus, we provide them the theoretical background related to the to SEL, resilience, and the prevention of social and emotional and behavioral problems, including some research finding, because the idea was to give the teacher not only material that were already made, but to provide them a foundation where they could feel safe, because everything we provide them had and is research based. As I said, during the training course, we had a lot of time to have individual and group reflection. They share their experience, and also we provide them some example of the PROMEHS activities. So in this way, they felt very guided. It was a real step-by-step sort of tutorial to show them how they could implement the activity. Just to give you an idea about what we talk about during this training course in terms of teachers' mental health. This slide is the screenshot of what we have done. It's written in Italian, but I'm going to translate some key aspects. So we ask them how they feel during lockdown. For those who can understand Italian, you might immediately notice that they mention immediately anxiety. They feel tired, the teachers, I mean, they feel frustrated, they feel tired, they feel anxious, they feel a lack of motivation. So we implemented promise, we trained the teachers the most difficult moment, because it was the beginning of the school year, and most of the classes were at home. So we could see from the answer that the teacher felt really in difficulties, and this is one of the reasons, because we had such a large sample, because they asked to be trained, because they feel they were not ready to support their own mental health need and also the students' needs. Another example of what we talk with teacher, we ask them for their point of view, which were the social and emotional need of teachers, of the student, in terms of behavior and in terms of the psychological point of view. So I can translate something for you, the most important aspect. I can immediately identify that they notice that the students feel tired, they feel sad, they feel isolated. Some teacher, they wrote they need to feel safe, to try to be back to their own the previous life, because they feel isolated, they feel fragile. So this is, as I said, an example of what we talk with teacher, and also we talk about strategies to help the student. So Promise included a number of handbook. In particular, we have 7 handbook. 2 are for teachers and are different according to the age of the student. So we have one for the teacher of the student from kindergarten and primary school, 3 up to 10 years old, and the second one from middle and high secondary school, age 11 up to 18, plus a glossary. So we develop a glossary for the teachers and the student as well, because we thought that it was important also to provide what we call the mental health literacy, because sometimes we talk about anxiety, depression, but we don't know really what it means in terms of behavior that the teacher can observe and what the teacher can do in the school, because we are talking about what a school can do, not what the health services can do. So we are taking an educational approach. And then we had also the handbook for teacher, the guidelines for parents, and the guidelines for policymakers. I reported some example of the theme, the topic, and the activities to give you a practical example of what is included in this handbook. So as I said, we included 3 themes: SEL, resilience, and the prevention of social and emotional and behavioral difficulties. Each theme is divided in a number of topics. For instance, SEL, social and emotional learning, includes 5 topics, which are the 5 main area of the SEL construct according to the Casel model. As you can see from the slide, for instance, we have self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. Then resilience is composed by 2 topics: dealing with psychosocial challenging and traumatic experiences. And then for the prevention part, we included dealing with internalizing problem, externalizing problem, and at-risk behaviors. This is an example of the handbook. I took some screenshot just to provide you some example, but as I said, and as it's written, the theme and the topics are the same across all handbook activities, which mean that the topics are the same across the years. This is an example. So if we take the theme number 1, which is promoting SEL, the topic is self-awareness. We have one goal that is quite general. In this case, is to be able to identify and label basic and complex emotion. And then for one goal, we have 2 activities which refer to the complexity of the content of the activity. So for instance, we have the basic level, which is more appropriate for the student of the kindergarten. Then we have the advanced level, which is more appropriate for a student from the primary school. I underline the number 2 because then I have an example that is related to the level of the primary school. But this is just to give you an example of the structure of the handbook. So in all handbook, there are a number of characters. They are all the same, and they grow up according to the school level. So the idea is that the student could identify themselves with this character. And for instance, in this first line, you can see the same character, Anna, for example, which is one of the main characters. The first line is more specific for the children of kindergarten and primary, while the second one is the representation of the character for the story which we presented in the handbook for the older student. But as I said, the characters are the same. You may notice that the character might have strange names according to your cultural background, but this is our idea. So we wanted to include the name that represent the diversity in terms also from the cultural point of view. So we tried to brainstorm some names. For instance, Luca sound more Italian, and Lucia as well, for instance, but Borna, for instance, in Italy doesn't sound Italian at all. In fact, it's one name in Croatia. And you can see also that some character have some specific let's say characteristic, also the color of the skin, for instance, or some character they wear glasses. So we try to represent the diversity from many points of view, to have an inclusive curriculum also in terms of the content on the character. In each activity, so these characters, they have to face some challenging. So we have some stories where there are the character, and maybe there are also the parents or other friends, but all the story are based with these main characters. As I said, they grow up with time. This is an example, for instance, of an activity that is included in the first handbook. Is taken from the team one promoting SEL and address the topic of self-awareness. So I have no time to go deep into the activity, but I just want to underline that these activities was built with the aim of talking about complex emotion for students of primary school. For instance, it's underlined in the slide, talking about embarrassment, talking about feeling guilty or jealous, and so on. So, as you may say in the slide, this is a very nice painting taken from the Portuguese experimentation, and I thank the Portuguese team because they were so nice to share their activities. A teacher from a school in Portugal, they talk about gratitude, which is a very positive and powerful emotion, and we barely as adults talk with children about this kind of emotion. And if you notice from this painting, this child try to represent gratitude, adding an extra pair of arm that go out from the heart. So I decided to show this picture because it was very powerful, as I said, and it was a very useful for the teacher to address this kind of emotion, because usually teacher try to talk more about basic emotions such as happiness or sad, and maybe they talk less about this kind of emotion. Another example of activity taken from team 2, which is related to the promotion of resilience, and in particular from the topic dealing with traumatic experience. So I selected one activities that was more direct, more specific for children for primary school, even if this picture, as you can see, they represent younger children. But the decision to take the activity, to select the activities, was up to the teacher. So we just suggest the target group, but then the teacher has the responsibility, the freedom to select the activities, because we know that the teacher, they are more able to identify the need of their children. I want to show you this activity because I have also some nice picture. This activities was targeted on develop those abilities which are related to understand the point of view of a person that might have a temporary or chronic state of illness or a disability. So in a way, it was an activity to promote all the skills which are related to taking care of the needs of the other from the physical point of view and the psychological point of view. I wanted to show you some nice picture because you can see these very young children, and if you notice, they are really taking care of others. They are doing a sort of simulation. They are doing, I would say, little doctor to measuring themselves, and in this way, the teacher explain to them how you can take care of others, also starting from the physical point of view. just to conclude, so as I said, my role in this presentation was just to give you some little example of what we carry out in Italy, but also abroad, because the activities were the same, just to give you a taste of what is included in the Handbook of Promise. To conclude, so we found very useful to talk about mental health, taking care of the teacher and student mental health. So from these two point of view, especially during the COVID emergency, we notice for teachers that having step-by-step activities, we say ready-made, but still with possibility of adaptation, uh, was very appreciated by teachers. And also we provided a lot of practical tips, both during the training course, but also in the handbook. In the training course, especially as I mentioned before, we created, I would say, a relational space where the teacher could talk with us about their difficulties and how they could promote the teacher-student relationship, especially during the COVID time when they could not really maintain a face-to-face relationship. Another strength of the project was that we provided in the handbook different methodology, because I had no time and I'm very sorry for it, but in the activity we also provided them a lot of links for further materials, further videos, additional books, papers, and so on, so they could also feel supported in terms of you can enlarge your knowledge. So we provide you a list of references and you can know more about it, and you can use also some external resources such as nice videos taken from YouTube. And also the last aspect that is very innovative is that maybe for the first time in terms of large experimentation, we took care also of the teacher's mental health, because usually the school-based program are more focused on the student, and they tend to leave they tend to address indirectly teachers' mental health via the student, but Promise addressed teachers' mental health directly. So I thank you for your attention. I hope that I'm sure that your conference will be successful. And in my last slide, I would like to thank all my colleagues, not only the one of my team from Italy, but also from the other country. This is one picture that includes some of the members of the Promise team. You can see we are a large family. And also in this presentation, you can find also the email address if you want to contact us. You are welcome. We have a website, we have a Facebook page, we have a YouTube channel with a lot of videos, a dissemination video. We have a LinkedIn page, and we have also a ResearchGate page where we can and we will find in the future the Handbook of Promise. So thank you again for your attention and good luck for the conference.